Good evening and welcome to yet another episode of the KCCA FC TV show, and this one is quite special because the club is commemorating the first anniversary since it won the Sekafa Kagame Cup. The team travelled to Kigali on the 6th of July and the tournament ended on the 21st of July, of course, with KCCA FC being crowned the champions of the Sekafa region. Guys, we are talking of teams like Gor Mahia, TP Mazembe, Rayon Sport, who are the champions of the Rwanda Premier League. We're also talking to teams like Azam Football Club, who are the defending champions that won it twice on the bounce. And KCCA FC was able to win this tournament without three of its star players. That is Alan Chambade, Timothy Awani, and Patrick Kadu, who had traveled for the AFCON tournament that was also happening in Egypt at the time. And also, the club traveled with a lot of rookies that were going to have the first games for them in this tournament, and also with an average age of 21 years that will comprise of this team. And also, the club wanted to see if this was the squad that was going to make sure the club qualified for the CAF Champions League and CAF Confederations Cup group stages, because the games were going to just happen in a few months at the time. Guys, we're going to bring it to you and we'll be getting to know what were the goals for the team going into this tournament. And we're going to be hearing from different people, the players, the managers, the lead of delegation who was from FUFA at the time, and a lot more on this show tonight. My name is Magero Moses Wanje and I'm your host. Now in this episode, we'll be getting to know how the team prepared for this tournament, what were the goals for this team when they were getting to Kigali, and also what happened in the group stages. And guys, remember, we are talking of 41 years since the club had lifted the Sekafa Kagame Cup, and also traveling with a team of average age 21 years, pitted against teams like Bandari Football Club from Kenya, Azam Football Club that had won this tournament twice on the bounce, and Mukura Victory Sports that had their home in Huye, where the club had its group stage games. This is what happened in Huye, where the club had its group stage games, and also how the team prepared and the goals for this tournament. Have a look.
Nze Kasenge Tom John Fisher, mtwali wa branch ye Kawempe ku Bantula Kyebando. Nze president w'abawagizi ba KCCA FC. Era nze nakulira delegation y'abawagizi abava eno nga tugendedde n'ekigendere ky'okulaba omupiira gwa kwota. Tugamba kwota be batuwangula tetujja kuwona na ssente zaffe tujja kuvaayo tukomewo.
Entambula gye twatambulamu yokka yali nungi kubanga twasimbula wano sali sawa 2 twatuuka eri nga bukya sawa 11 ngaffe abanywamu nga twatandikirawo ekintu kyaffe oba promise eyo sibitegeera soka ntubikubamu.
We left for Rwanda. The trip was okay. It was so awesome in that it had that touristic aspect in it. Very adventurous.
Twatambula bulungi. Maximilian yatukolera enteekateeka yafuna basi ya Volcano. Yali very comfortable, lugendo lwatunyumira, twali bangi ng'omuwendo guwera.
Twatuuka obudde butya. Era bwe twatuuka twasobola okufuna we tusula ne tupangisa ennyumba zaali siringi 6 eza Rwanda. Ne ndowooza nti kaneebakemu nja kufuna ku tulo. Naye otulo twagano olw'obwagazi bwe bwa KCC, otulo twambula. N'ensunula butunuzi bw'ente era ssente ne zigendera busa.
Olugendo lwaffe Kigali, Rwanda, mu Sekafa terwali lubi, lwali lulungi nnyo. Lwakwanze ng'omuntu omu nali nina gye nva era ku mipiira nalimu obukoowu, naye ate bwe natuuka eri obukoowu bwanzigwamu olw'ensonga nti twagenda n'abawagizi n'ensangayo support, ne tusangayo abawagizi bannayuganda nga beeri nga naye baatuwagira nnyo. Kati kye twali tusuubira nti tugenda kuba batono mu kisaawe twagenda okwesanga nga tuli bangi.
This week means quite a lot for us as a club, and for me as the patron, it's one of those lifetime achievements because after 41 years, of course, there were patrons in between that period, but this achievement coming at a time when we're just one or say double. It gives me all that kind of feeling that yes, we have also made a contribution to this club. We have made a contribution to the growth of football in this country.
Taking us back to that moment when we were traveling to Kigali, I remember the mood. Everyone was jolly. We were just enjoying. I think to some extent, because at the club, we want to win almost everything.
And our performance in that tournament was really phenomenal. Yes, I remember I could compare it to the performance we had in '79 in the AFCON, because we had waited for quite a long time. This is 41 years. So the first time again we qualified for AFCON, the kind of excitement we had, the celebrations we had, you know, how the euphoria gripped the entire country because qualifying for AFCON after a very long period. I think this is the kind of sentiments, the kind of emotions we got.
Ugandan clubs have not been very successful in this particular competition. In the entire history, we are the most successful footballing nation in this region. Beat Africa Cup of Nations, beat CECAFA itself as far as the national team is concerned. Come to clubs with all that potential, we've not been as successful. I can tell you off my head that we have won that championship as a country, or Ugandan clubs, only 6 times in its history, which is over 40 editions. KCC, not including some of the players that we are playing at the Africa Cup of Nations, that is their top players, of course. Timothy Awani, Alan Chambade, Patrick Kadu. You'd really think that it was going to be not one of those favored, because we have had Villa, we have had Express at their best, and still they did not, with some of the best players around, but we could still not win it as a country.
We had won the league here comfortably, and the boys going there had that winning mentality and belief, okay? And of course, the teams that were in our group also champions in their own whatever. But we believe we had better quality as far as concerned. Maybe they had the experience, but we had better quality.
We left the country as the champions. We had to go and defend our club's name, and to prove to the region that we are a better team. So we went not to participate, but we went to compete convincingly to see that we win that trophy.
Our main focus was looking at checking and giving the playing time to some of younger players who are coming from the development side. Remember, we carried about 5 of them and they were part of us. So that was my target: go and have experience, then come back and see what are the adds on, if any, to go and play in the Champions League. Remember, we are the champions.
Timu yali timu ntonyo, in fact nga byonna bitunulidde nze, naye ng'omulimu gwenkola gwakubagumya kiro misana nina okuyitayo mu ruumu ne mugamba nti guma gwe kasono osamba wali tewali ajja kukola ki, ajja kuyitako oba ajja kuteeba goal.
I remember by the time we went into the tournament, we didn't have 3 of our mainstays. That is Timothy Awani, Chambade, and Kadu. They, on an account that they were in Egypt for the AFCON. The technical team believed in the playing staff that was available, and they trusted in them. So they took it as an opportunity to give the boys a chance to expose themselves in the region.
Pale twali obwana nganga buno obwana buze kola kimu kisaawe. Nze kyovola abantu abagamba mutebe ntaleta obwana mu kisaawe ne bamuvuma. Ate nze nange mbavuma. Obwana busamba omupira okusinga n'abasajja abakulu. Kati n'akasajja bakayita anaku. nga kaddogo kayita amagulu g'abasajja bwe kati ngamba kikino.
Essanyu lyali ligenda gyendi oba nasanyuka nnyo ng'omuntu nti abavubuka bembadde nabo okumala emyaka nga 6 lwakubanga abavubuka abasinga babadde mu ttiimu eyo ya Sekafa nti ntandise nabo natandika nabo nga bakyali baana bato nnyo wala nga bali mu S1 S2 nze ntandise nabo. In fact nze kochi yasigalawo yatandika n'abavubuka abo nti kyampa essanyu nti bagenda kusamba mu tournament etali ntono, tournament ennene naye nti abavubuka abo genda mu tournament buli omu yagamba atugende tugezese nga nange kwendi tugende tugezese abavubuka tulabe lwakubanga already twali tulina abasambi 3 bali mu national team tugamba tugende tugezese ku bato bano tulabe oba banaasobola. Yalinganga in fact nga bw'onoogamba nti nno tugenze kugezesa ttiimu ey'omwaka ogujja.
I was going for the Sekapa tournament, but I could not believe when the coach told me I was going for the Sekapa tournament because I was still in the junior team and I was just promoted, and he told me, no, I'll go with the team to the tournament, and he told me I was going to play the games. So when he told me I was going to play the games, I was even scared because I was still young, playing with mature people like champions of different countries, and then leagues like TP Mazembe, Azam, the Rayon Sport. So I was scared when he told me when I was going to play. So I could not believe when he told me I was going to play and when I was among the team.
We went as like underdogs because we were young. Actually, when we were playing that tournament, most teams said like, those guys are young. They were like, these guys, like we are going to be knocked out in the group stages. We only surprised them. We showed them that football is not only played through the legs but also your mindset.
We had the youngest team, and we used the Sekafa tournament as a step forward of developing our players, because we took all these young players that were been graduated from our development side, and indeed they shouldered the responsibility and played very well. And for me, that was a launching pad for them to grow and have confidence to play for the team.
So the night before we traveled to Rwanda, the coach called me and said, you know what, Peter, we do not have Wanyi, but we have you. So I'm going to give you the responsibility to lead from the back. And you have to enjoy, be comfortable on the ball, and you will succeed.
Before we left, they told me, Coach, we are going to win this trophy. We are confident we can play. After all, some of them had played on the continent, in the Confederation, whatever, matches. So to them, the confidence they had and the belief also gave me more belief to trust them.
We arrived and our first game was against Bandari. We had received some intelligence that they had been preparing in South Africa. They were taking the tournament so serious. We were equally taking the tournament serious, and we conceded an early goal against them. It was through a corner, but we kept our heads up. We kept pushing. Then later in the game they introduced Saddam, who turned around a lot of things in that game. He created many, though we didn't convert them, and he eventually scored. So we picked a point in the first game, which was important. It was so important that we should at least walk away with a point. We wouldn't tolerate a loss in the first game. It would make things difficult for us to advance from the group stages. So much as the team was young, but we had targets.
Now guys, you've seen it for yourself exactly what happened in Huye, where the club played very tough teams in the group stages, and also the manager telling us the objectives for the football club as they went to Rwanda to play this tournament. We'll be going for a break and we'll have the moment of the week, but when we return, we have a lot more on this show. Now welcome back from that break, and now in this one we're going to be getting to know how bold Mike Mutebi was using youngsters in this tournament. But now for those who really know Mike Mutebi, know how bold he can be. He named a squad that had average age 21 years. I'm talking of players like Musa Ramadan and Anaku Sadat, who had played their football in the FUFA Juniors League for the previous season. Kato Samuel, who was making his debut for the club in this tournament, and we're also going to be seeing things like the quarterfinals where the club played the host team, Royan Sport, and also the semi-final, arguably the toughest game in this tournament against Green Eagles, a team from Zambia. Everything on this show.
The best I could do by the time was to talk to these boys, to encourage them, like to stay strong, you know, to believe in themselves, and knowing that they can make it. You know, football is a game of fear. Sometimes you find youngsters when they have phobia in them, when they fear going on the field. But when you encourage them to stay focused and looking forward into the game as you go on, I think that was the most or the biggest part I had to play on the team, like to encourage them and know what they're supposed to do, and as to be an example on the field. Like when you receive the ball, your first touch matters a lot. As a senior player, when you lose the ball, the youngsters will have more fear in them, knowing that if Mike has lost this kind of a ball, how about me? How is it going to be like when I lose this kind of a ball? So you just have to be careful with your first touches, and then you keep on talking to these boys minute by minute.
I played all the 6 games, but my favorite game was the game against Azam in the group stages. It ended 1-0, courtesy of Anaku's goal. The reason as to why it was my best game, it's because we dominated the game. I played very well. I commanded the back very well, and actually it was our first clean sheet in the group stages.
In Huye, it was venturing and preparation over there. So when we reached Kigali, we felt that we are at home. It really stepped up our ideology and strength to the winning ways.
Huye, which is on a high altitude, that really affected our breathing. You know, it really affected our breathing, and it was so difficult for all of us.
We had to move to the capital of Rwanda, Kigali, and we had to play the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, as well as the finals. But it was all marvelous.
By the time we left Huye, we thought we were going to play TP Mazembe. That was the most likely opponent, but they had a game to settle against a team I don't remember very well. So we came thinking that we were going to play TP Mazembe. The results from the game they had in hand changed everything, and we ended up playing Royan Sport, a home team with a lot of crowds and very vibrant fans.
I was not surprised the crowd would not face these players because they had played in crowds in stadia with 20,000 plus. So they wouldn't be intimidated. For them, it was just a matter of using the ball and playing with confidence and knowing what to do. And of course, we were also helped by good officiation because they were protecting these kids. See, they will be subjected to rough tackles and all this, but the referees were protecting these players because they were good players. So I was confident that immediately we had gone through the group, anything would happen, giving the opposition that had stayed in the competition.
They had a lot of fans. They were the favorites at the time we played them. But we had also played some good football in the group stages, and we had started getting some fans, sympathizers, because of our brand, our philosophy. So yes, much as we had them, but they could not square up with the number of fans Ryan Sport had. So we ended up playing Ryan Sport in the quarterfinals. We managed to eliminate them.
My toughest game was quarterfinals against Ryan Sport. My toughest opponent was their winger, because as I was playing right back, my toughest opponent was their number 11, because he was skillful, he knows how to use the ball, space, and then he had speed.
We led the game through Chiza in a well-constructed goal, a typical KCC goal. Let alone early in the second half, they equalized. We kept on pushing. We created a lot of chances until when Jackson Nunda gave us a lead again. So we managed to consolidate the lead and we advanced to the semi-finals.
In all those matches, I remember my toughest was the semi-finals against Green Eagles of Zambia, because we played the game and it all went up to the extra time.
Though we went into this game knowing that it's a weak team, but we didn't know that they had this kind of experience, a lot of experience. Getting on the field, these guys were all over us, you know. They never gave us time to play, pressurizing us, you know, using a lot of energy on us. It was the biggest game of the tournament, I think.
These guys, we are sharing, even we are on the same hotel.
Every morning they used to go for road work, and like they were big, muscular, and they used to make a lot of noise.
These were very old people, old men, and they had stayed together, I think, for 7-6 years, you know. So they gave us a very good challenge, and we showed that because they scored fast, you know, they scored, we also scored.
In that game, the first goal we scored. Through Okelo scored, he swerved the ball, we scored. We felt the confidence started coming, and we felt like, yeah, we can do it.
The odds were against Green Eagles, but it was the toughest game of the tournament. We led, they equalized, they led, we equalized, and the game went into extra time.
One moment that I remember is Okelo Alan. That guy is marvelous, marvelous. In fact, in Swahili, there's some commentator who used to call him Fundi wa Kambumbu, just literally meaning he's a technician of the ball. I remember the goal he scored, marvelous. Everyone would wish to watch that.
Open play, you know, full of incidences, attacking, you know, everything you would like from a very good football match. I believe the way the opposition conducted themselves, they had a lot of belief, but the mentality, the belief of the players to say that even if we are 1-0 down, we have the belief to go on and attack and not be scared and start to play damage control.
We had not played longer than 90 minutes in the tournament. That was our first time. And remember, now we had now played a number of games. The energy levels were not the same.
I was tired, right? The body was tired, but the mindset was not tired. I used the mindset. So in second half, things were not going on well. There, I was feeling tired. I wanted to be substituted because I was tired. Really, I thought like, but because of the strong mindset that I had, and also because of the fans, Kasim was there telling guys, don't let the trophy just go like that. These are old guys. You are still young. You can make it. You can make history. He was shouting that. So I was like, yeah, we can manage. We can manage.
There was a guy who was a right back to the other team, the Green Eagles, and he changed everything to our side and our game plan, of course. He was such a good player, and he made 2 assists, and we couldn't manage to defend him because he was coming from far from the right back and completing his final touch in the final third. He was such a talented guy, and he gave us some difficult time.
In the 79th minute, we managed to equalize. Then we took the game in the extra time. That's where we won it.
80th minute, I was substituted after the equalizer. I was sitting on the bench looking at guys struggling for the team. I felt bad because I was tired, because I'm a person who likes playing. I want to be every time, but recovery is too important. Like I missed icing a day before. We had icing. I missed icing a day before. That's why I was very tired. So I watched the game. It went through extra, like in extra time. In extra time, I was in pressure, being the worst. If you are not the worst thing in soccer, being in bench, because you be in pressure. Pressure is the worst thing. Pressure. I was in pressure throughout until when Anaku scored the 3rd goal.
Scoring in semi-finals against Green Eagles, to me it might be like one of the greatest moments, because it was a goal that determined our going to finals. And actually that day it was, I think, Gift Ali. So who told me, do you know what, bro, you have to score and your goal will take us to finals. So and when I scored, I think the whole team was happy, and particularly Gift Ali. That's why he came and carried me, and I also felt happy taking the team to finals. Yeah.
Okero put up a very good show in that game, I remember. Sadata Naku as well, and everybody else who was part of the team put up a contribution, because when we were going into the extra time, the guys who were at the bench, they took over from the technical team. They motivated the guys, so it was a collective effort so that we reached the finals.
And Mutiaba added the 4th goal. 4-2, we celebrated. I said, yeah, the pressure had already gone. I had the confidence in the bench, and now I said, yeah, we can make it through to the final. They scored the 3rd goal, 4-3. The pressure came back. I felt like, again.
And of course, we were also helped by good officiation, because they were protecting these kids see they would be subjected to rough tackles and all this, but the referees were protecting these players because they were good players. So I was confident.
120 minutes. At the last time, they added 2 minutes. We were waiting for those minutes. We were all praying, God, help us, help us.
Now guys, to be honest, I happen to have been in Kigali last year and saw exactly what happened in this tournament. Green Eagles from Zambia. For me, it was the toughest game KCCA played in this tournament. And for me, when they won that game 4-3, that was in extra time, I just had this gut feeling that maybe this was to be the year the club was to win ever the second Sekafa Kagame Cup. And you've also heard it from the manager who had the nerve to field youngsters that took him until the final to win this tournament. We're going to be going into a break. When we return, we have a lot more, and we're going to be hearing from the fans because they traveled for the final in Kigali, and also the road to the final. A lot of stuff happened down in Kigali after this break. Now guys, welcome back from that break. Now in this particular one, we are going to be having the road to the finale, how the team left Huye and went to Kigali, and that's where everything happened. Now the fans traveled for the final games, for the finals, and they rallied the boys and made sure we would get this trophy back to Kampala. And also, Chiza Mustafa, the guy who scored the goal that won KCCA FC, the Sekafa Kagame Cup after 41 years. He also scored in the finals of the Sekafa Senior Challenge Cup. I really don't remember quite very many people that have scored in both finals. But anyway, if they are there, the history books will tell. We're going to be getting all that in here.
I was personally in Egypt, and I was following the performance of the young players playing at the highest level for the first time. So I flew directly to Kigali from Cairo, and I arrived on the night when the finals were going to be played the following day. And I asked the management of the team that I would like to speak to the players. Now, the experience rubbing off is that from managing the Uganda Cranes, in the current professional environment, players have a language they understand. So when I asked the management, they were good enough. And they called the players, officials, and we sat down and I tried to motivate them the way we motivate the Cranes, by telling them it's your time, it is possible, believe in yourselves. But most importantly, said as a federation, we are interested in this victory for Ugandan football, for yourselves, and definitely we'll put across $1,000 for every player.
So we knew we had the backing of the federation and the president himself.
After the meeting, we had a meeting that night, but after it, I talked with my fellow players like Magambo, because he's my best friend at the club. Yeah, he told me that it's all about giving all what you can. You have to perform to your best. So be confident, coach has trust in you. And then the day came and I performed.
We were going to play Azam, with whom we had already played, and we played very well.
Azam, whom we had played in the group stages, and we registered our first win in the tournament from them. It was disturbing it was disturbing to have them in the finals, because now you would think they were looking for a revenge. That's the only opportunity they had to revenge against us, because we had beaten them in the group stages.
Because the team was playing very good football, we managed to gather support from other people, especially the Rwandese. All the Rwandese were supporting us. So it gave the players more confidence that they had support towards them, and they played well.
Before going in, even in the pitch, I first prayed to God to give me courage, confidence that I can perform.
In terms of experience, they were better than us. We thought about them winning recently, the championship, we thought they had a winning mentality than us, but the technical team worked around their weaknesses.
I really expected that we are going to win the game because we are already prepared and we are psyched very well by our coaches. But the most important thing was about how me as a person I had prepared, because usually I do listen to soul music to feel comfortable and reggae love songs. That inspires me and brings me to be more confident on the field of play.
The mood was like, let us be alive in every minute of the game, be it when we are leading or when we are behind.
Natya nnyo nga tutuse ku final nga tugenda kusinkana abasajja abe nali ndabyeko wano ku mupiira ogwa friendly abazaamu ab'e Tanzania. Nemmanya abaana baffe abato abatalina experience ate bali balese ttiimu yaabwe nga nzijuvu yennyini nga bwe bagigula abasajja bwe bali be bagula aba professionals.
My toughest opponent in the Sekafa tournament was a guy from Azam. He donned the number 10 jersey. The reason as to why he's my toughest opponent is because the guy was strong, the guy was a bit fast. Actually, he was faster than us, but we managed to handle him and we kept him quiet throughout the game. Me and my colleagues Musa, Kiza and Kato Samuel.
After the first half, I remember we went in the dressing room and Coach Molebiekwaso told us that we can. The game ends in the 90 minutes, so we have to perform to our level best to go back to Kampala with the trophy.
Because Azam was also a very experienced side. A very experienced whatever. Remember, they were the defending champions. But the way the players managed themselves in that game, they controlled it. They knew when to play fast, they knew when to slow down the game. So they managed the game as mature players.
Chiza scored early in the second half. But before he scored, we are dominating. Their strategy was to get us on the break. So we had dominated and we knew the risk of committing numbers up front, because these guys, you know, when you commit numbers in attack, you leave a gap for the opponents to counter you.
So far, I didn't think that I was the one to score that goal. Yeah, because me, at any time, I thought I could make one, I could assist in any way. Yeah, so far, I still have even the goal fresh in my memory. Yeah, I could still see it coming in my mind. Yeah, so far, yeah, I felt happy to score on the finals. Yeah, so far it was a dream come true for all of us to win the Sekafa title, because we were undermined, because everyone thought that we couldn't reach that far.
Kuba goal ngeri gyanywamu teri muntu yategeera nti goal enywedde, kubanga nange nekanga bwekanzi. Teri defender yagiraba, teri keeper yagiraba, wabula okulaba bulabi nga endulu zivuga nga goal enywedde. Era obulamu bwange sifunanga ku ssanyu nga lye nafuna nga ndyerwanda ku mupiira gwa KCC.
Mbandi awo mudakiika nga ntono Kiza n'abatulisa. Akatabiro nilimbuka ku mutwe, ninzira munomo, ninkuba endulu, sate ninzijamu. Tugenda okuwera sawa 12 nga kikobo kirina mu ngalo.
For us as players, we had our own celebrations. Yeah, we used to create them, so when we could score. By that time there was a song going on. It was a hit, Tetema. Yeah, so they had that dance. Yeah, it was a nice dance, so we tried to copy it. Whenever we score, we used to.
Even after Chiza had scored, it meant that we have to keep being alive and competitive even when we're in the lead. This was the strategy. So we were happy to see our strategy working.
And for me, only that now showed me that they had grown. They were so tactically smart, that they could, play that way in a tournament, because the tournament is not a marathon. You must be very measured in the way you play. So, but to see that these kids did that, for me, was very pleasing.
The technical team would give new instructions according to the way the game was moving. So we're not saying that we were stuck on one approach. So we kept changing according to the prevailing circumstances.
I came on the field knowing that they know our style, our way of play, that they thought it is going to be a very hard game for them. And what really made me love that game was they knew what we were going to do to them, and still we did what we believed in ourselves, and we did it to them again. So it made that game fun to me.
We were given chance, all of us were given chance, all the junior players at that time. I remember the finals, we started like seven players from the junior side, and that was a good thing to the team.
I felt so happy winning the Sekafa tournament. Let me say the international tournament, my first international tournament with the club, with my colleague that I came with him from the junior side, that is Musa Ramadan. And I felt so happy playing with him, like, cause he knows we know each other very well, the way we play. Yeah, so I felt so happy for him.
Emphasized my objective of giving young kids chance to play, and I was vindicated because nobody believed that those kids would win the tournament. And not only did they win it, but they won it beautifully, playing some of the best football.
We won this as a country, yes, KCCA Football Club. Myself, I'm a sports club of Virafan, confessed. But then this is for Uganda, this is for us. We had a very good moment in Kigali, and we went at the residence of our ambassador, and we had a meal, and it was a very good moment. Like President Gianni Infantino says, winning is good. You feel good when you win. Everybody is happy. And losing is bad, you feel bad. That's what makes the game of football. So we had another night whereby everybody was happy, and it became an obligation for us as Hufa that we keep our word. And definitely when the moment came, we were proud that we were able to fulfill our obligation. And I think this is a culture that we want to continue with, that should clubs go into the final stages of club competitions, how much can we support as a federation? And from there, we have also been inspired to say, for every time the club wins a league and goes to represent Uganda on the continent, we will be buying the air tickets, such that that's our contribution at the end of the day. Because much as these clubs, for me, it is a success for us, it's a success for our players, success for Ugandan football.
I feel as a hero right now, because it took the club 41 years to win the Sekafa title again. So, and I'm so happy that I'll be among the players that they will say to brought the Sekafa tournament to Uganda since I was from the junior side.
And I'm proud of it to have won it, yeah, with the club, yeah, and with the national team, and scoring on both finals. So far, yeah, I'm so happy about that.
Winning a championship is something every player always dream about. I'd won Sekafa with the national team, but not with the club. So winning the Sekafa was something big to me and to my career, and to my life after football. When you maybe having a conversation with your friends or with your family or with your kids, you can always bring back these stories and motivating them. If at all one of my kids play football, I'll have to tell them my experience, in Rwanda, in Sekafa, and how things are done, and how you have to focus and win a championship. This is something big in my life that I'll always remember until maybe God calls me.
It's going to be celebrated by the posterity, it's going to be celebrated by all Ugandans, because it was really phenomenal, that performance there. Our boys were really up the standard. And I remember very well, it's from that performance that many of our boys were spotted, and they had to get recognized by different
clubs. We are achieving something as a team. This was our vision, and this was a mission. I felt happy to be accomplishing a mission. So yes, I was the lead on the pitch, but this was a collective effort. Everyone was in it. Everyone was in it, in the technical, in the administration, the playing staff. Everyone, I don't own the glory. It was for everyone. So I just feel happy that I was the captain, but it's a collective achievement.
The other milestone we should celebrate that comes with this achievement is the stamping of our foot on the international, on the continental scene, because KCCA is now a brand on the continent. It's a brand. We have more or less entered that club, that cluster of the giants on the continent.
That set the new journey. These players come into this league that has just concluded. They were confident enough to compete.
As a club, it gives us that feeling that yes, our efforts have not gone in the vain. They have not gone in vain, rather. That our efforts have yielded fruits, the investments we have made. Because we are, I think, in a class of our own, in the local soccer here, in nurturing younger talents. So to see to it that we won it with a club of youngsters, I think the average was 21, 22 years, that's really commendable.
And if you look at their performance, then since then, their performance has improved. You can see the rapid growth of Serwada, Anaku, Musa Ramadan, Kato. You know, it was a good experience in as far as the growth of the team is concerned.
Personally, I feel gratified as the patron that achievement we registered was really from within our ingenuity, from within our own efforts, and from within our tough and hard work. So this week is a great week for us, and all of you fans, you should feel proud of that achievement. We should always walk with our heads high and celebrate it. Yes, we made it. We brought glory home here. We had to hoist the national flag on the African continent. And of course, to always inspire our kids, our youngsters, our golden boys to yearn for more.
Tuva nesawa yakati tuli mu bwavu naye timu tujugobera mpaka wegenda tubeerawo ffe. Ero lumaliriza wano. How content tutuvaawo.
Now guys, that's it. We've been reliving the Sekafa Kagame Cup. Everything that happened in Kigali. You didn't miss that much because we have brought it for you on this show. We've had a lot on this show. Things like how Chiza Mustafa felt after scoring that goal that KCC had to wait for 41 years to make sure it gets the second ever Sekafa Kagame Cup. How the FUPA president motivated the players just before the final, that was on the eve for the final. How the manager had the bold move and the nerve to take a squad that had average age 21 years, and what it felt for people like the Lord Mayor, the club patron, what it meant for the players that played in this tournament, the coaches, the club itself. Guys, it was really, really astonishing, something memorable, historic, and that is exactly what happened in Kigali last year. Against all odds, KCCA FC were crowned the Sekafa Kagame Cup. Now, you might be there saying, we have won the Sekafa before, but did you do it after 41 years? Did you do it with an average age of 21 years? That is the squad. Did you do it with youngsters like Musa Ramadan, Anaku Sadat, guys like Chiza Mustafa, Alan Okelo, and the rest? Man, it was really, really nice stuff in Kigali. And that was it for tonight. My name is Magero Moses Mwanje. Good night.